Please marry me." The words echoed across the dirty sidewalk of Harrison Street like thunder on a clear day. Passers-by stopped immediately. Cell phone cameras were raised. An Arab man in an Armani suit was kneeling before a black woman sitting against the brick wall of an abandoned store. She had a torn blanket over her shoulders, frizzy hair tied in messy braids, and eyes that had seen too much. Her name was Jasmine Cole, 34, and she had been living on the streets of Chicago for 18 months after losing absolutely everything. The kneeling man was Khalil Al-Farsi, 38, one of the Middle East's biggest real estate investors, owner of skyscraping towers in Dubai, London, and New York. His estimated fortune exceeded $800 million. And he was begging a homeless woman to marry him. "Are you crazy?" Jasmine said, her voice hoarse with disbelief and years of using no words other than "got any spare change." "Get out of here before they think you're crazy too." Khalil didn't move. "I heard you yesterday. You were talking to yourself about market analysis, about cash flow, about investment opportunities in rundown areas. No one talks like that by accident." Jasmine looked away. That part of her, the brilliant woman who once ran meetings in glass-walled boardrooms, was dead, buried under layers of trauma and shame. "I don't know what you're talking about." "I know exactly what I'm talking about," Khalil insisted, his voice low but firm. "You're not just a homeless person. You were someone. Someone important. And I want to give you a second chance." A man in a gray suit appeared beside Khalil, his personal assistant, Rashid. "Sir, people are filming. This could go viral." "Let it go viral," Khalil replied without taking his eyes off Jasmine. "I don't care." Jasmine finally looked at him. Her eyes were wet, not with gratitude, but with anger. "You want to feel good about yourself? You want an inspiring story to tell your rich friends at fancy dinners? Look how charitable I am, I married a beggar." Khalil shook his head. "It's not charity. It's business." That stopped her. "Business?" "Yes. I need someone with your intelligence. I saw how you analyzed this neighborhood yesterday, the abandoned properties, the potential for appreciation. You talked about conscious gentrification, about not driving out residents, about creating real value. No one else thinks like that." Jasmine laughed, a bitter, broken sound. "And you want to take me to your mansion? Give me a bath, nice clothes, and pretend I'm a person again?" "No," Khalil said calmly. "I want you to prove you still are." The silence stretched. The crowd grew. Someone murmured, "This is a prank, right?" Jasmine looked at the man kneeling in front of her, an Arab billionaire, immaculate, powerful, vulnerable. And then she did something no one expected. She smiled. "If you really want this," she said slowly, her voice gaining a forgotten strength, "then give me your credit card. Now. No limit. And let me use it for 24 hours. If I prove I still know what I'm doing, then we'll talk about marriage." The crowd erupted in shocked murmurs. Rashid stepped forward. "Sir, this is..." "Done," Khalil interrupted. He reached into his jacket's inside pocket and pulled out an American Express black card. Without hesitation, he placed it in Jasmine's dirty hand. She stared at the card as if it were a grenade. "Are you really doing this? You asked for a test. I'm giving you one. Show me who you are." Jasmine clutched the card tightly. Something inside her, something that had been dormant, buried under months of survival and pain, began to stir. "All right," she whispered. "But when I prove myself, you're going to tell me why a man like you is so desperate." Khalil smiled slightly. "When you prove your worth, I'll tell you everything." What neither of them knew, what the crowd of curious onlookers filming couldn't imagine, was that Jasmine Cole wasn't just a woman who had fallen on hard times. She was the former vice president of investments at Harrington Capital, one of Chicago's largest fund managers. And she hadn't fallen. She had been pushed. 18 months ago, Jasmine discovered that her boss, Gregory Harrington, was embezzling funds from elderly clients into offshore accounts. When she threatened to report him, he acted first. He planted false evidence, destroyed her reputation, froze her bank accounts, and made sure no Chicago company would ever hire her again. Within 6 months, she lost her apartment, her car, her friends. Within 12 months, she was on the streets. But Jasmine had something Gregory never imagined: proof. Years of emails, transactions, recordings. All saved on a flash drive she hid in an old Bible she carried in her tattered purse. She was just waiting for the right moment. And the right ally. As Khalil stood up and reached out to help her, Jasmine had a strange feeling. As if fate had finally decided to play in her favor. Rashid whispered to Khalil as they walked to the parked black Mercedes, "Sir, why are you really doing this? Who is she?" Khalil looked at Jasmine, who was holding the card as if it were a weapon. "Someone Gregory Harrington underestimated. And who will help destroy him." Rashid froze. "Do you know her story?" "I know the whole story," Khalil replied coldly. "Gregory stole $50 million from my aunt before she died of cancer. She lost everything in the last months of her life because of him. And I swore I would make that man pay." He looked at Jasmine, who was now hesitantly getting into the car. "She has the evidence. I have the resources. Together, we're going to take him down. If you're holding your breath with this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Because what comes next will prove that underestimating the right people is always a fatal mistake." 24 hours. That was all Jasmine had to prove she was still the brilliant analyst who once commanded decisions worth millions. Khalil took her to a 5-star hotel in downtown Chicago. When they entered the marble lobby, all eyes turned to them. A woman in dirty clothes next to an Arab billionaire was an unexpected sight. "This is my guest," Khalil told the stunned manager. "She will need full access to the spa services, a personal shopper, and absolute privacy." He turned to Jasmine. "You have 24 hours. Use it as you wish. Surprise me." Jasmine held the black card. "What if I just disappear with it? Then I'll know I was wrong about you." He paused. "But I don't make mistakes about people." 3 hours later, Jasmine was unrecognizable. Her hair was washed and styled in elegant braids, her skin was treated, and she wore a tailored gray suit. When she looked in the mirror, tears streamed down her face. There was the woman she thought she had lost forever. But there was no time for emotions. She picked up the laptop she had asked for and got to work. She spent the night researching abandoned properties on the south side, cross-referencing price, zoning, and appreciation data. Khalil said he needed intelligence for investments. She was going to prove exactly what she was capable of. Using her black card, she purchased premium analysis software, hired a legal advisor, and called 3 brokers, introducing herself as the representative of an Arab investor. Within hours, she had access to privileged auctions. By 2 a.m., she had a complete dossier, 15 strategic properties, cost-benefit analysis, projected return of $12 million in 3 years. Total spent, $47,000. She sent everything to Khalil with one line: "I still know what I'm doing. Your turn to prove why you really found me." The next morning, Khalil knocked on the door at 9 a.m. When Jasmine opened it, he paused, visibly impressed. "I read it 3 times," he said, stepping inside. "It's brilliant. You haven't missed a thing." Jasmine crossed her arms. "So now you tell me the truth. Why me?" Khalil took a deep breath. 18 months ago, my Aunt Nadia died of cancer. She entrusted $50 million to Harrington Capital. Jasmine felt her blood run cold. Gregory Harrington. He embezzled it all. When my aunt found out, she couldn't afford the experimental treatment that could have saved her. She died 6 months later, broken and betrayed. My God, Jasmine whispered. I found out that you had been fired after threatening to report him. I found out that you were on the streets. And that you are the only person who has real evidence against him. Jasmine went to her old bag and took out the worn Bible. From inside, she removed a small USB drive. 3 years of emails, offshore transactions, recordings, forged documents. It's all here. She held up the flash drive. But alone, I'm nothing. He has lawyers, connections, power. Khalil stood up. But my word is worth something. My money is worth something. My lawyers are worth something. He held out his hand. Jasmine Cole, will you marry me? Not for love, but for revenge? For justice. Is this a business marriage? It's a war marriage, he corrected. Against the man who destroyed our lives. Jasmine shook his hand. Then let's make that bastard pay. A week later, Gregory Harrington was in his office admiring Chicago through the 40th floor windows. His phone rang. Mr. Harrington, there's a couple here. They want to invest $100 million. Gregory smiled. Send them in. An elegant Arab man entered first. Gregory was already extending his hand. Mr. Al-Farsi, I presume? He paused. Behind Khalil stood a black woman in an impeccable suit, her eyes cold as ice. Jasmine Cole. The blood drained from Gregory's face. What are you doing here? Jasmine smiled. I came to introduce my husband. Khalil Al-Farsi, this is Gregory Harrington. The man who destroyed my life. Gregory tried to regain his composure. I don't know what lies she's told you, but this woman was fired for theft. My aunt was Nadia Al-Farsi, Khalil interrupted coldly. You stole $50 million from her. She died without being able to pay for her treatment. Gregory blinked rapidly. This is a misunderstanding. Enough lies, Jasmine said, placing a laptop on the table. Emails appeared on the screen. Transactions. Documents. Years of fraud in meticulous detail. Gregory sat up slowly, his face gray. Where did you get this? I've always been good with backups, Jasmine said softly. And unlike you, I never underestimate my enemies. What Gregory didn't know was that the SEC had already received an anonymous copy of everything, and that the door to his empire was about to be broken down. Gregory stared at the laptop as if it were a bomb about to explode. His fingers trembled as he scrolled through the documents, every email, every fraudulent transaction, every embezzled penny exposed in brutal detail. That doesn't prove anything, he stammered, but his voice no longer had the arrogance of before. They could be forgeries. Manipulated documents. Khalil smiled coldly. Funny you should mention forgeries. Because the SEC is right now comparing these files with Harrington Capital servers. We got a court order 3 days ago. Gregory's face turned white as a sheet. Impossible. You have no authority. The office door burst open. 2 federal agents entered, badges raised. Behind them, a woman in a navy blue suit carrying a thick briefcase. Gregory Harrington, said the taller agent. I'm Agent Collins from the SEC. This is Agent Morrison from the FBI. We need you to come with us immediately. On what charges? Gregory stood up, trying to regain some dignity. The woman in the suit stepped forward. Large-scale tax fraud, money laundering, embezzlement of client funds, and obstruction of justice. 4 starters. She opened her briefcase and slid documents across the table. We have search and seizure warrants for this office, your home in Lincoln Park, and your account in the Cayman Islands. Gregory staggered, grabbing the table. You can't. I have lawyers, I have. Your lawyers have already contacted us, the agent interrupted. They withdrew from the case as soon as they saw the evidence. No one wants to defend the indefensible. It was at that moment that Gregory finally understood. He looked at Jasmine, and for the first time, there was no arrogance in his eyes. Only pure hatred and despair. "You were nothing," he hissed. "A dirty beggar on the street. How dare you?" "I was never nothing," Jasmine interrupted, her voice calm but sharp as steel. "You just needed to believe that to feel safe. That was your fatal mistake." Khalil stepped forward. "My Aunt Nadia died believing she had lost everything through bad luck. In her last days, she made me promise I wouldn't waste my energy on revenge." He paused, his eyes burning. "But this isn't revenge, Gregory. It's justice." "We have more," Jasmine said, pulling a second flash drive from her pocket. 8 victims besides Nadia. All elderly. All lost their life savings. 3 of them died without being able to pay for medical treatment. 2 lost their homes. 1 committed suicide. Gregory closed his eyes, finally understanding the magnitude of what he had done. "All of these families," Jasmine continued, "will receive compensation when your assets are auctioned off. Every penny you stole will be returned." "There will be nothing left for me," Gregory whispered. "Exactly," Khalil replied. "You will experience what it's like to lose everything. Every bank account frozen. Every property confiscated. Every social connection severed. You will know exactly how my aunt felt. How Jasmine felt." Agent Collins gestured. "Mr. Harrington, your hands, please." The handcuffs glinted under the fluorescent lights as they clicked around his wrists. Gregory Harrington, who an hour ago had considered himself untouchable, was now just another white-collar criminal being escorted out of his own empire. As the agents led him away, he turned one last time. "You won't win. I'll appeal. I'll fight." "With what money?" Jasmine asked softly. "Your accounts are frozen. Your bail will be denied because you're a flight risk. And you'll spend the next 15 to 20 years in a federal prison, thinking about every life you destroyed." The door closed behind him. Silence filled the office. Jasmine walked to the window, looking out at the city that had almost killed her. Chicago sparkled in the afternoon sun, indifferent to the drama that had just unfolded on the 40th floor. "How do you feel?" Khalil asked softly, standing beside her. "Empty," she admitted. "I thought I would feel triumphant. But I just feel tired." "That's because you're not like him," Khalil said. "You never were. He destroyed out of greed. We served justice because it was necessary." Jasmine turned to him. "And now?" "Now," Khalil smiled slightly, "you have a decision to make. Our agreement was to destroy Gregory Harrington. Mission accomplished. If you want a divorce, I'll sign the papers today. No hard feelings." Jasmine looked at the man who had found her at the worst moment of her life and bet everything on her. "What if I don't want a divorce?" Khalil raised an eyebrow, surprised. "We have $100 million to invest," Jasmine continued, a sparkle returning to her eyes. 15 properties waiting to be developed. A conscious gentrification plan that can change the South Side. And a foundation in Nadia Al-Farsi's name to help victims of financial fraud. She held out her hand. "Partners." Khalil took her hand, but didn't let go. "Partners. But on one condition." "What is it?" "That this time, it's for real. Not a marriage of convenience. Not a marriage of revenge." He smiled. "Just marriage." For the first time in 18 months, Jasmine Cole laughed. A genuine, light, free laugh. "I need at least 3 dates before I'll consider serious proposals." "We've already had 1 date," Khalil replied. "At the hotel, remember? You spent $47,000 on my card." "That was work, not a date." Then tonight. Dinner. Something without dossiers or conspiracies. Jasmine nodded. Tonight. As they left Gregory's office for the last time, neither of them looked back. 2 years later, the transformation was complete. Jasmine Cole was at the grand opening of the Nadia Al-Farsi Community Center, a 5-building complex on the south side that included affordable housing, space for local startups, a free medical clinic, and a job training center. At her side, Khalil held the hand of their 6-month-old daughter Nadia, as applause echoed through the hall. "This center," Jasmine said into the microphone, her voice firm and clear, "is not charity. It is restorative justice. It is what happens when people who have fallen are given not just a helping hand, but the tools to lift themselves up." The crowd, local residents, investors, family members of Gregory's victims, burst into cheers. Among those present was Sarah Mitchell, 68, one of Gregory's victims who had lost $2 million in savings. She approached Jasmine after the speech, tears in her eyes. "My money was returned in full. I was able to pay for my heart surgery. My grandchildren have college funds now." She held Jasmine's hands. "You gave me my life back." Jasmine hugged the woman. "We gave each other our lives back." As for Gregory Harrington, the reality was brutal. Sentenced to 18 years in federal prison on multiple counts of fraud, he lost absolutely everything. His mansion in Lincoln Park was auctioned off. His offshore accounts were confiscated. His wife filed for divorce and was granted custody of their children, who changed their last name to erase any connection to their father. The scandal made headlines for months. "Fallen billionaire, from tycoon to prisoner," read the cover of Forbes. His photo, once always smiling on magazine covers, was now a mugshot with empty eyes and an aged face. In prison, Gregory became invisible. The man who once commanded boardrooms now cleaned bathrooms and served food trays. Some former colleagues sent letters in the first few months. Then, total silence. He had become exactly what he had always despised: forgettable. Khalil and Jasmine turned their war marriage into something much deeper. It didn't happen right away. It took months of honest conversations, couples therapy, and learning to trust again. But when little Nadia was born, they both knew they had built something real. "Do you ever regret it?" Jasmine asked one night as she rocked the baby. "Kneeling on a dirty sidewalk and asking a homeless woman to marry me?" Khalil smiled. "It was the best business decision I ever made." She laughed. "Business?" "High-return investment," he corrected, kissing her forehead. "I put my faith in someone everyone else had written off. I got back a partner, a wife, a mother for my daughter, and the most brilliant woman I've ever met." Flattering. Realistic. In the years that followed, the South Side Project expanded rapidly. They created 847 direct jobs, renovated 23 properties, and reduced local crime by 34%. Most importantly, they didn't displace a single original resident. Jasmine became a national reference in conscious gentrification, lecturing at Harvard, Stanford, and MIT. Her story, from homeless to CEO of Cole Farsi Development, became a book, a documentary, and an inspiration for public policy. But she never forgot where she came from. Every first Saturday of the month, Jasmine returned to the sidewalk where Khalil found her. She brought food, blankets, and most importantly, opportunities. She hired homeless people directly to work on her properties, offering not only employment, but housing, training, and dignity. 5 years after their initial meeting, Khalil organized a surprise. He took Jasmine back to Super Save, the same store, the same sidewalk. There was now a bronze plaque on the ground that read, "In this place, on March 15th, 2 broken souls met and built a legacy of second chances." Jasmine read it with tears in her eyes. "You're impossible." "I learned from the best," he replied, kneeling again, this time with little Nadia, now a bright 3.5-year-old at his side. Jasmine Cole Farsi, Will you renew your vows with me? Not for business, not for revenge, but for true love. She knelt too, hugging her daughter. 1,000 times yes. That same day, at Terre Haute Federal Prison, Gregory Harrington learned of the ceremony from an old newspaper another prisoner had left in the library. The cover photo showed a beaming Jasmine and Khalil, Nadia between them, surrounded by hundreds of people whose lives they had transformed. He read the entire article, each word a stab of regret. At the end, there was a quote from Jasmine: "The biggest mistake anyone can make is to believe that broken people have no value. Sometimes the most broken are the ones with the most to offer. They just need someone to see beyond the surface." Gregory slowly folded the newspaper. He had served 7 years. He had 11 years left until his parole. He would be a 61-year-old man leaving prison with no money, no connections, no family. Just like Jasmine was when he destroyed her. The difference was that she found someone willing to take a chance on her. He would never be that lucky. Jasmine Cole Farsi built an empire not despite being homeless, but because of it. Every scar, every cold night, every moment of despair taught her empathy, resilience, and never to underestimate the value of a second chance. Gregory Harrington built an empire on greed and lost everything on arrogance. He saw people as numbers, as disposable resources. And in the end, he discovered that he himself was the most disposable of all. The lesson? Simple and brutal: never confuse temporary position with permanent value. The woman you despise today may be the one who seals your fate tomorrow. And the man who seems to have it all may be one act of greed away from losing absolutely everything. Jasmine didn't destroy Gregory Harrington. He destroyed himself. She just held up the mirror. If this story touched you, if it reminded you that second chances exist and that no one is too far gone to be redeemed, subscribe to the channel, leave your like and share. Because somewhere right now, there is another Jasmine waiting for someone who sees beyond the surface. And another Gregory about to learn that underestimating the right people is always fatal. Sometimes justice is slow in coming. But when it arrives, it is absolute.